And you didn't get 8 in doubles tonight, but you got 6. Are you this scoring balance, how sustainable is it? How pleased are you with it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely sustainable with the way they're playing because they're moving the ball and they're sharing it. I think, like I said before the game, I thought one of the things that was going to be hard is, we made a lot of shots in the Laker game, and especially in the mid-range area. And this was a game where I thought we generated a lot of good looks. I think we started the game like 1 for 14 from 3. We just didn't shoot it great from 3, but I thought we got a lot of really good looks. But we stayed with it and we defended and we did other things, I think, to give ourselves a chance offensively to score. Obviously, Kobe had a great second half, but, the way that they're sharing the ball and moving it, I feel like we're generating good shots, and the result may not always be making shots, but the way they're trying to play is great. And, to have 6 guys in double figures again, Alex, I think maybe would have been 70 at 8, but, they're really playing together and sharing the ball.
You mentioned. Go ahead.
You gave Drummond extended run in that second quarter. What did you see there from him at both ends?
I thought he did a great job. He came in and he kind of went for that one steal in the backcourt, and we called timeout, and then he just really responded really well on both ends of the floor. He was a presence on rolls to the rim, ducking in, sealing. I thought we did a nice job finding him when he was open, and then I thought his rebounding and cleaning up allowed us to get out in transition quite a bit. But he was really, really good in both halves.
Billy, you mentioned the three-point shooting obviously was a little down tonight compared to some previous games, but at the same time, you guys are coming off a back-to-back. It was a Lakers emotional game. This thing had kind of letdown written all over it. What does it tell you about where these guys are mentally, that they're willing to grind games out that kind of set up in the past as, what am I going to get from this team tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like we clearly did not have the same pop to start the game as we did last night, and that's going to happen on a back-to-back. I give our guys credit that they kind of had the mentality that we're going to have to grind this game out, because I think it's very easy to get frustrated when you're not making shots and getting good shots, but you're going to have to do something defensively and rebounding-wise and keeping them off the free throw line, and I thought we defended very, very well. Now, they had 19 turnovers. I'm not saying that we were the reason they turned it over 19 times, but certainly I thought activity-wise on defense, do we help for one another? But that's what you have to do in these games, because a lot of times these back-to-backs, you're not going to really be fresh, you're not going to feel great physically, and the first thing that generally goes is shooting. And you have to find other ways to win, and I think to what Casey was talking about, we shared the ball and generated good stuff. I thought we tried to get downhill and get to the paint like we talked about, but I thought it was really good to see the way they respond. I give them a lot of credit because your point, it was a hard game, because they the way they play, they force you to exert a lot of energy. They're going to run up down the floor. They're going to be really fast in transition. They're the best team in the league in terms of generating threes out of transition. So physically, you have to put the work in. And I really thought, even though we were not great shooting the ball, I felt like our guys really kept grinding and putting the work in. In a game where we probably could have got really frustrated.
In that second quarter with Drummond against Wembanyama, do you think it seemed like he physically dominated him and took him out of the game? What did you see there?
Yeah, I mean, defensively, he's a handful just because he's so long, and even when you get angles to the basket, you still have got to try to finish over him. But I did think the physicality of Andre on both ends of the floor. One, I think when he was trying to cut and move, the physicality. When he tried to get a little bit closer to the basket, Andre holding him up. And then I think, even though at times maybe Andre didn't get the ball, him occupying him, physically, where he had to work to get around in front of him or he got pinned behind him, those things helped us because clearly, he was a factor at the basket and certainly blocked a lot of shots. And it wasn't just our guards. He blocked some of our, he got Drum a couple times. I think he maybe got somebody else, but he's just so long and deceptive.
I haven't seen all his games, but I don't think he's had a game like this where Wembanyama is less involved and effective all game.
I think he's such a unique player. He
makes 7 points.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing, too, is I think the scoring for him is going to eventually come. I think it's probably a huge adjustment for him, the physicality of the NBA, certainly the length and the skill set. He's going to become a more consistent jump shooter. He gets good looks. He'll make more shots, I think. He's probably learning. He's young. I know he played professionally overseas, but I think coming here is a lot different. And he'll figure it out. But there's things that he's done in games that are really pretty remarkable. And I think what he'll do is as Pop coaches him, and he's obviously developed great players and will develop him too. He's going to have to find Wembanyama a niche for himself. And I think the niche is really him putting the ball on the floor, shooting the ball. And then sometimes they really do a pretty good job of trying to get it to him on high-low situations where they can throw it up to him. And, you got to physically really try to remove those opportunities for him. But I think you've got to play physical with him. You can't let him play in a lot of space because he's just too long and he's too skilled and he just plays over top of you. So you have to get into him. I think that's probably one thing he's seeing a lot of now is the physicality of the game, and that will be something he'll adjust to.
One more thing I want to ask you about the fourth quarter. You guys kind of broke it open. It seemed like Kobe, obviously had a big quarter, and he got some passes, but it seemed like he did most of that on his own. What did you see from him in that quarter?
Yeah, I think that he was aggressive, which was good. I think I've said this before, he's really grown at the point of screens and pick and roll. He's playing in pick and roll really, really well, and I think he's got downhill. I think probably the first half taught him a lot about how to play in the second half, but I do agree he was able to generate stuff on his own. But I want him to do that, because I feel like he's playing with the right intention. And listen, is he going to be perfect all the time? No, but I thought he made good decisions when it needed to be passed, and when he needed to try to go score, he stayed aggressive. And I think he felt like he had it going, and I think all the shots he took were certainly makeable shots for him and good shots for him.
Let's get one more. Will, go ahead.
Billy, there were a couple times where you went to lineups without Vooch or DeMar on the court. It was like Kobe, Io, Julian, Dalen, and Drummond. Is there anything there as far as trying to see what those guys look like without DeMar and
Yeah, I
Vooch,
got
or?
a little bit messed up there in the first quarter. I think you're talking about that when I put all those guys in there. DeMar's rotation went too long. I didn't get him out at that 6-minute timeout, so he went down to about 4:50. And I just felt like we were a little bit gassed and we needed some energy in the game, and I wanted to put some of those young guys out there to see if we can generate some energy, and then from there just kind of see how the game was going. I think it was a 6-point game at that point in time. They did a good job. They didn't absorb a lot of minutes, but it was more just our rotations got messed up after that first period. And then I think some of the guys' rotations were probably a little bit shorter than they were yesterday just because we were on a back-to-back.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.